Welcome to a new episode.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Copper Connection podcast. As always, I'm your host, Chris Bailey, and if you're a plumbing or construction student, an apprentice on site, or someone working towards your technical qualifications, you're exactly in the right place. Today we're diving into episode 21, and we're talking about something that might sound a bit corporate at first: the supply chain integration. This is actually about why some building projects run like clockwork and others, well, turn into absolute nightmares. And trust me, understanding this could save your reputation, your time, and a whole lot of stress when you're out there working on real jobs. So let me start with a story. Imagine this: you're a second-year apprentice plumber. You've been assigned to a big commercial job, a new office building. Your role: installing the heating system on the third floor. You've done your prep, you know the job inside out, and you're ready to smash it. You turn up on Monday morning, tools in hand, ready to go, but there is a problem. The pipework you needed, it hasn't arrived. No one told you, the contractor didn't communicate with the suppliers, so you wait. Tuesday comes, still nothing. Wednesday, the pipes finally show up, but now the electricians are working in the same space, and there's no room for you to get your work done. By Thursday, you're behind schedule, the site manager is stressed, the client is asking questions, and you're frustrated to hell because none of this was your fault. Sound familiar? Maybe you've been there. Or maybe you've just heard the horror stories from your mates on site. So here's the thing: this chaos doesn't happen because people aren't skilled. It happens because the supply chain wasn't integrated. The people and companies involved didn't communicate, didn't plan together, and didn't work as a team. And that's exactly what we're going to be unpacking today. Alright, let's break it down. What actually is the supply chain? Think of this: a building project isn't just one person doing one job. It's a whole network of people and companies all working together to turn the idea into a finished building. That network, that's the supply chain. At the top, you've got the client, the person or company paying for the project. They might not know anything about construction, but they've got the vision and the budget. Then you've got the architect, who takes that vision and turns it into drawings and plans. They're the creative brain. Next up, the engineers: structural, electrical, civil, and mechanical. These are all technical experts, making sure everything is safe, legal, and actually works. Then there's the building contractor, the main company managing the whole site. They're coordinating everything, ordering materials, hiring labour, keeping things on track. Underneath them, they've got the subcontractors. That's where you come in as plumbers, electricians, or bricklayers. You're the specialist. You bring the skills. And don't forget the operatives, the people doing the groundwork, the cleaning, the machine maintenance. They keep the site running smoothly. Finally, you've got the manufacturers and suppliers, and the companies making and delivering the materials you need to do your job. Now, when all of these people work together, communicate clearly, and plan as a team, that's called an integrated supply chain. And when that happens, magic. So, why does integration matter so much? Let me give you the 5 big reasons. Number 1, we have cost savings. When everyone's on the same page, there's less waste materials to get ordered at the right time, in the right quantities. No one's paying for emergency deliveries or throwing away unused stock. That saves the client money and makes you look good. So we've got efficiency. Imagine a site where every trade knows exactly when they're needed, what materials will be there, and who they'll be working alongside. No waiting around, no clashes, just smooth, effective work. That's what integration delivers. 3, better quality. When people work together long term, they learn from each project. Standards improve, reputation grows, and as the tradesperson, your reputation is everything. Number 4, confidence in planning. You can actually trust the schedule. You know when you'll be needed, what you'll be doing, and what resources you will need. No more last minute panics. And finally, 5, on time, on budget. Projects that are well integrated are far more likely to finish when they're supposed to without blowing the budget. And this means happy clients, repeat work, and job security for yourself. But here's the flip side. When the supply chain isn't integrated, that's when things fall apart. So let's see what happens when it goes wrong. Let's go back to the story from the beginning. You, the apprentice plumber, stuck on site with no materials, no space, no clear plan. That's what happens when there's poor planning and communication. And the consequences, well, they're pretty serious. This could cause disruption to the work programme. If materials don't arrive on time or skilled workers aren't available when needed, the whole site schedule gets thrown off. One delay causes another and suddenly the entire project is behind, which will then increase our costs. Delays cost money. If your work overruns, the next trade can't start, the project drags on, penalty clauses kick in, the client gets angry, and guess what? That affects everyone's pay and future work. And damaged reputation. If a project is a mess, late, over budget, poorly coordinated, no one looks good. Not the contractor, not the subcontractor, and not you. Word spreads fast in this industry. A bad reputation can follow you for years. So how do we avoid this? How do we make sure the supply chain actually works? It all comes down to three things: planning, communication, and collaboration. Let's start with planning and scheduling. Good projects use something called inventory management. That's just not a fancy way of saying order the right stuff at the right time and store it properly. No shortages, no wastes. To make that happen, the key partners need to integrate their activities, and they do that in a few ways. First, compatible software systems. You might have all heard of BIM, Building Information Modelling. It's a digital system that lets everyone from architects, engineers, contractors, subcontractors work from the same set of plans and data. Everyone sees the same information in real time. No confusion, no miscommunication. Secondly, agreed roles and responsibilities. Everybody knows what they're supposed to do, who they report to, and who they're working with. Clear hierarchy, clear accountability. And thirdly, change management processes. Things can change on site, that is normal. But when there's a process for managing those changes, updating everyone, adjusting the schedules, reallocating resources if needed, it doesn't turn into chaos. Now, I know some of you might think, that sounds a bit high level. You might be thinking, Chris, I'm just trying to pass my level 3 and get through my apprenticeship. Why do I need to know this? Well, here's why. Understanding the supply chain makes you a better tradesperson, full stop. When you know how a project is planned, who the key players are, and how communication flows, you can anticipate problems before they happen. You can ask the right questions, you can plan your own work better, and you can stand out as someone who gets it. Not just the technical skills, but the bigger picture. Employers notice that, clients notice that. When you're running your own jobs one day, this knowledge will be the difference between a project that runs smoothly and one that is a total disaster. Plus, if you're studying for your T-level MVQ, this stuff is in your curriculum. You need to know it to pass. So think of this episode of a revision that actually makes sense in the real world. Let me give you one last example. I know a plumber, let's call him Jake. He was working on a big housing development, dozens of homes, tight deadlines, lots of moving parts. But this project was different. The contractor had set up weekly coordination meetings with the subcontractors. Everyone knew the schedule. Everyone had access to the same digital plans. And if something changed, like delivery delays or design tweak, everyone was updated immediately. Jay told me this was the smoothest job he'd ever worked on, no waiting around, no clashes with other trades, and no stress. And because the project finished on time and under budget, the contractor brought Jay back for the next phase. More work, more money, better reputation. That's the power of an integrated supply chain. Alright then, let's bring this home. Today we've been talking about the supply chain, what it is, who's involved, why integration matters. We've looked at the benefits of when it works and the chaos when it doesn't. And we've explored how good planning, communication and collaboration make all the difference. Whether you're on site in the classroom or revising for exams, this knowledge is gold. It will help you understand how projects really work, make you a more valuable team member and set you up for long-term success in the trades. So here's what I want you to do. If you found this episode helpful, hit follow on the Copper Connection podcast. We're here every week with practical, real-world advice for students, apprentices and anyone building a career in the trades. Share this episode with your mates, your classmates, your crew on site. Let's spread the knowledge. And if you've got any questions, stories or topics you would like us to cover, reach out to us. We're building this podcast for you. Until next time, keep learning, keep grafting, and remember, you're not just learning a trade, you're building a future. I'm Chris Bailey, and this has been the Copper Connection podcast.
We'll be back next week. In the meantime, please subscribe and thanks for listening.